Spider-Man. But enough of reminiscing of the past. We are here in the now in the very first semi-finals of ESL Open Cup Asia, number 61.
Oh, nice. No, wait, it's not that. Never mind. As we load on into Oxide LE, we're here at the top right-hand corner map, starting all the way in the top right-hand corner. The Blues player, he is coming out from the land of South Korea. He is going to be representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming, DPG. He is the opposite of Solar, if you will. He is Dark.
And spawning in the bottom left hand corner of Oxide LE. It is the Dawn Killer himself representing Team NV, actually from Team NV. It is Creator.
I completely forgot DRG has the NV Tech clan tag.
Yeah. It was an imposter, and Creator sussed them out.
So he knew. He was sniffing it out, and he thought, wait a minute. You're not the waifu on rotation. We don't even have waifus on rotation anymore.
Exactly. And Creator was able to dispose of DRG quite handily. Again, 2-0. That's something that I don't quite expect to see. So we'll see how Creator's doing. Because again, it's been a while since we've had the luxury of casting him. We don't always get to catch him in these ESL Open Cup Asias. Typically, we're in a different end of the bracket. So yeah, we'll see how he's approaching this matchup. We'll see if he's embracing the current Skytoss meta or if he's switching things up.
Well, it seems like he kind of was, from what I've been able to catch on Pig Stream, just before we got into this lobby. A lot of Void Rays, a lot of carriers, a lot of storms. But yeah, we shall see how he plays this out. I feel like he does need to switch things up a little bit when you're going up against somebody like Dark. Might work on, one of the more standard Zerg players out there, like Solar, like Lambo, like, I almost said Ragnarok, but Armani. That's another fairly standard Zerg player. But Dark will always do his own kind of thing. He will take inspiration from what is in the meta, but he'll always put his own spin on things.
Definitely. And quite interesting here. Creator actually started Warpgate and then canceled it to get a faster Stargate. And then delayed his Warpgate as a result. Interesting.
Huh.
Okay.
Well, when in meta, might as well go meta.
Yeah, so Dark, I mean, he should be aware of this. I'm pretty sure he saw that the Cybercore wasn't building for a moment there. Regardless, even the slow lanes are going to be able to sneak into the main base, so he should be able to see the Stargate opening coming out here from Creator.
Or he'll go directly for probes. Might as well at this point. This is Dark we're talking about. He likes to be as ruthless as he can get away with, and yep, now he doesn't think like the scout either, though. Will confirm the Void Ray coming out.
That he does, so he's aware of the initial opening from Creator. Where Creator goes from here is kind of up in the air, right? A lot of players have been going from this into Oracles. We haven't even seen double Stargate into Phoenixes as well. Mass Phoenix, that has made a resurgence to great effect. So yeah, Protoss, they have quite a lot available to them. We'll see what Creator prefers.
That we shall. I feel like with the Phoenix switch, it is dependent a lot more on the Protoss player, kind of forcing their Zerg opponent to build into a certain way. They try to make them think, haha, actually, I'm going for I'm going for a gateway switch. I'm going to be getting, what's the word I'm thinking of here? Zealots and whatnot to counter your Hydras, wink, wink. At which point the Zerg player says, I'm actually not getting Hydras, though. I'm getting Mutalis. To which case the Protoss player says, you fool! I was going Phoenixes this entire time!
Yeah, we have seen players go Phoenixes to great effect, and also we've seen it fall in his face, like Patience.
Yeah.
Just look at you, Patience.
I didn't want to name names, but he was exactly who I was thinking of.
Yeah, exactly. But there's a correct, a better way to execute that. Meanwhile, Creator being a little bit aggressive here, especially with these Adepts, buying time because he is not going double Stargate. He is going for a Twilight Council straight after the first Stargate.
Yeah, my personal favorite switch from the Stargate opening actually He's going for the glaives as well. This is still something that Pro Toss players do quite a bit, but usually when they do this, they don't really get an Oracle, though. They get a Void Ray, maybe 2, and then go into the glaives, right?
Yeah.
I might be misremembering.
The Oracle is a nice touch here. Unfortunately, he hasn't been able to find any damage because there is a Spore. It looks like now he's going to try and sneak in. We'll see if he can get some value with this Oracle.
Yeah, and he is trying. We'll be able to take out 1 drone, 2 drones, 3 actually at the end of the day, but will be forced to recall out of here. Oh, just barely not having to creep patch over there.
Just barely indeed, and I'm a little bit concerned. Okay, the Roach Warren is now starting up for Dark, but he's been quite greedy. He doesn't really have an army to speak of whatsoever. He's mainly relying on Queens, which is what you want against Void Rays, not so much against Mass Adept, and we'll see when all these gateways kick in. Again, only 3 gateways so far from Creator. Interesting.
Yeah, not too committed into this, Creator is. And he's not going for a Warp Prism first either. He's prioritizing the Immortal.
Yeah, again, like this does typically hit without the Warp Prism as the Adepts are going across the map. The Void Ray will be able to defend against the Lings, and now the Adepts are finally going to be revealed as soon as they step onto Creep. And again, what's worrying is that the Rich One only just finished up, so there is a period here, there is a window where these Adepts could deal some damage.
And definitely trying to. There's a nice spread of Queens, and yeah, Dark not neglecting his creep spread either, so he will be able to collapse on top of them. Did not anticipate Creator commit to the Shade, though. Very quick pull on the drones.
Yeah, that he did no mining whatsoever in the main base. Meanwhile, Creator does commit to the Shade into the natural. More drones are going down. The Roaches are finally starting to pop out for Dark, but it's a little bit too late as 8 drones have gone down. And a couple of Queens.
I don't even know what to call this. I mean, I was gonna say I'm liking how conservative Creator is being with this, but he is committing to Shades, but he's also definitely feels like he's calculating these out. He's taking risks, but he's taking calculated risks. Yeah,
exactly. Again, a lot of the damage that's being done is just due to Dark being greedy, incredibly greedy. Not just that, he never went in for a secondary scout. He never really confirmed what was coming out from Creator, and as a result, he did lose so many workers, so much less mining time. Dark, he does clean it up, but Creator should be perfectly fine at home with a couple of Void Rays, more importantly, with these Immortals.
That he should be, fingers crossed. Yeah, a bunch more gateways are coming down. Should have a lot more production potential. Creator will. He stole that worker lead quite a while ago, and now he's just feeling comfortable enough to get into his mate game. Robobay currently on the way.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what you want against a Roach Ravager base composition, like going straight into disruptors. And if your opponent goes into Hydras, then you can always switch into Colossus if you need to. So far, Creator has been pretty diligent with his scouting, setting out these Halukes and keeping an eye on the kind of tech that Dark has.
And making sure he's not going to be pulling the fast one on him. I believe he saw that macro edge. Well, okay, he showed a reveal or a revelation.
Yeah. That he did.
So,
ooh.
And I feel like when you see that macro hatch, that's a tell that your Zerg opponent wants to go a lot heavier into the Ling Bane.
That's exactly what it tells you. So Creator, he's aware of the mass Ling Bane potential from his opponent, which is why I like this. Not going into Disruptors, going to Colossus. Colossus will help so much more when it comes to dealing with those Lings. Disruptors can be a little bit more vulnerable to them. But again, Creator right now, a little bit bold pushing out with his main army. I feel like he needs to calm down a little bit.
Yeah. I was hoping that Dark would be a little overzealous for his creep spread, shall we say, and try to pick off a little bit here and there, but yeah, he was able to prevent it from spreading, and not much else beyond that. They're gonna be clearing the tumors for a while.
Yeah. Instead, he's just posturing, making sure his fourth goes up. Pretty interesting location for his fourth, not opting to go for the right-hand side, instead for the more forward location, which, I mean, you know, there are advantages to this. It is a nice staging ground to kind of attack from, as it's right next to your Zerg opponent.
Absolutely is. It's also decent on defensively as well. You know, you do have that high ground if your Zerg opponent doesn't realize that you took that base and he's trying to go for that third, but now it is revealed. Dark knows exactly what Creator's going for.
Yeah, that's why we do see this massive Ling run by being set up over on the right-hand side. He's aware that the main army is over on the left, so these Lings, there's a potential for them to sneak into the main base, as the wall is not a wall. There is a sentry, though.
There is, and also Colossus. Man, Colossus Force Field Name a more devastating duo.
Yeah, as long as the force field is on point, right? Like, that's what's a little bit worrying, because we've got the Banelings that are going to be rolling, and at the same time, the Roach Ravager, I should say, just pure Ravager is going to hit the fourth.
Yeah, Dark Rather trying to flank this, but beautiful stasis ward. One Baneling will crash in, and it might take out a couple of probes. No, it will not.
Oh god, but he needs to react to this. Like, he needs to respect these Banelings.
Enough upgrades. Yeah, he really does.
Uh-oh.
Imagine he's just keeping his finger over the force field key. Meanwhile, Dark not satisfied with that. He is waiting to pounce in and try to get something done. He did force evacuation over here, and if these Banelings manage to connect, they are starting to line up. The probes are, but instead they will take out shield batteries and cannons. Not bad, but not the damage Dark was looking to do. Meanwhile, here in the natural base, these probes have run out of room to kite.
Oh, that they have. Creator, he's doing a really good job at pushing away the main army, but he's being pulled apart because the Link Run By did slip on in. There was no one to man the wall here in the natural of Creator, and now the majority of the probes have gone down in the main and natural, but that prompts Creator. Now he can push out. Now he can go for the attack.
Well, he needs to push out more single Colossus. It's so vulnerable, but he does wish to get a bit of a hot pickup here. Nice biles. They do land on a good number of units over here. And more importantly, it keeps Creator back for a little bit. He's on 4 Colossus right now, which is absolutely terrifying for a Ravager Ling Bane army. Yeah. But Ling Bane, now that it's all being dealt with,
I was about to say, you say Ling Bane Ravager, mate, it's just Ravager at this point. The Bane is on the way, but the force fields have been on point. Ooh, at the same time, though, the bios have been connecting with the army.
They definitely have. Creator's doing such a good job of keeping his high-tech units alive. He still has these Zealots to buffer, and they are the absolute key unit that you want against these Banelings. They blink away, and they do manage to split. 1 Colossus will finally go down, but 3 of them still shelling away from behind the safety of the Stalkers. A massive run by happening right now. Creator has got to be all in.
That he is. He only has 2 Colossus remaining, and they have such low health, they almost go down. They are the backbone of this army right now, and GG gets called.
Dark! He did a lot of economic damage, but that run by was not going to be enough. In the end, too many Colossus still alive, too many Stalkers still providing a buffer, and Creator takes game number 1. It's the year of Creator Light.
Mate, I'm telling you, at least in this matchup, he 2-0 DRG, and he's already up 1-0 here against Dark. And I love it because this is even with a style that's not, 100% meta. Like, it's not something that everyone else is doing. It's not that double Stargate into Void Rays, into carriers that Zest and Stats and everyone have been fawning over. Instead, he's going for the ground army.
He very much is indeed. Not just a ground army, but also a gateway army. Well, I suppose that's... regardless, that's like 70% of any, at least 70% of any composition.
Yeah,
base composition.
And he used it so well. To be fair, like, he was being pulled apart. As you were pointing out, Dark was doing a really good job at counterattacking and at dealing with that economic damage. The problem is that Dark was spending a lot of supply doing that. He was spending a lot of his Lings, the majority of his Ling Bane, to counterattack, and that meant that his main army suffered as a result.
Yeah, you back Creator in a corner, and you don't want to face a Creator that's been backed into a corner.
No, you don't, because if you do, you die.
Just go straight for the abdomen. I assume that's what happens, right? Question mark. As we continue this series here, this best of 5 semifinals on Jaga Nathan, apparently is what it's being called. Here in the bottom left-hand corner map, swinging all the way in the bottom left-hand corner, the Blues player having a little bit of trouble in this matchup. He is coming down from the land of South Korea, going to be representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming. DPG. He is not afraid. He is the Doc.
But maybe he should be afraid, because spawning in the top right-hand corner of Jagannatha LE, we have the South Korean Protoss player representing Team NV, already up 1-0 in this best of 5 semifinals. He is Creator.
Very impressive showing Creator has had today. Well, for a while anyway, that's why I was on the hashtag Year Creator hype train here. But definitely in PvZ has been showing off some very, very nice showings, shall we say.
Yeah, Creator is one of those players who has been around for a very long time. He was so
But
young.
OGs.
Yeah, he was so young when he started competing back in Wings of Liberty, and now he has aged a little bit. And unfortunately, he did peak earlier on in his career, you know, around that 2015 era. But after joining Jin Air, like, he hasn't really had his time in the sun, unfortunately. But this could be it. This could be his year.
Really, really could. That's what I'm, you know, crossing all my fingers for. And was it cross your heart? I think it's what you do.
Yeah, that's what you do. That's what you do if you're a Creator fan.
Yeah. Or if you do CrossFit.
There you
No,
go.
that is actually, funnily enough, that's what you normally did as a Creator fan, right? Because I really like that you know, bring up his history here. Creator, way back in the early days in Wings of Liberty, he was considered one of those prodigies. I think it was him, Teja, and Maru, I think it was, who
On
were
Prime.
really, who were on Prime, who were looked at, and they thought, this is the future.
Yeah. I mean, that's why, like,
These are the
Creator,
people you want to look for.
like, specifically,
But, you know,
Creator and Maru, they were like really good friends. And then even when they were on opposing teams in Pro League, like, you'd always get like photos of them together. And Okura has plenty of them.
yeah. Of course she does.
Oh god. And what I think what's really nice about that story is that it rounds off in that now they're both on Team NV, right?
Yeah, they are. There was a period of time where Creator was still on Prime for a while after Maru switched to Jin Green Wings. But, you know, in the end, Prime did disband, and I like to imagine that Maru put in a good word for him. Get picked up by Jin Air.
Yeah, oh my god, this is a lot of lost mining time, by the way. Like, that's a lot of, that's too many probes chasing those things.
Really is. Creator is definitely afraid of those slings, which, I mean, you can't really blame him here. Dark slings definitely hit different.
They do, to be fair. But yeah, that was a decent amount of lost mining time. Eventually the Lings do get cleaned up. More importantly, those Lings were able to get a full scout of the main base. They saw the Stargate, they saw the initial Void Ray coming out, and so far Creator is opening up just like game number 1.
Yeah, going with that Void Ray into an Oracle. We'll see if he goes once again to this Glaives build. I'll be very surprised if he does it twice in a row. I feel like that the Void Ray and the Glaives build is a very... It's not necessarily a cheese build, but it's still in that same vein of you're hoping that your opponent doesn't expect it.
It's one of
so
those...
you can exploit their... You can exploit their unexpectedness. Surprise! That's the word!
Yeah, one of the reasons why it rose in popularity was because everyone was going double Stargate, right? And because of that, scouting, or they wouldn't have that many Overlords out on the map, you know, to avoid the Overlords dying to the Void Rays, and scouting would be a little bit difficult, and the Zerg player would assume that you're going double Stargate. And then the Glaive build would kind of catch your opponent off guard. So that's why you want to do it like in a series, but you don't want to do it too often, as you were saying. And that's why Creator isn't going for it. He actually is going for the double Stargate.
Yeah, but so far, to Dark's knowledge, he has no confirmation on that. Dark is probably thinking along as similar lines as us, but hasn't been able to send his Overlord across, hasn't been able to scout that main base with his Zerglings, so at the back of his mind, he has to worry about that possibility coming his way.
Yeah, more so than in game 1. In game 1, you could argue that maybe he was a little bit complacent, which is why he never went in for a secondary scout. But after what happened in game 1, he's much more aware of the possibility. He's like, okay, I need to take this a little bit more seriously. I need to be on top of finding out what the hell my opponent's doing. And
I will bust down his wall if I have to, just so I know what he's doing.
And that's why we got a Bailey Nest and +1 melee on the way for Dark.
But Creator's going for double Void Ray, so yeah, I'm definitely a little bit worried for Dark in this scenario.
Yeah, definitely.
Void Rays are absolutely key, especially if he's able to get a very nice stasis ward.
I'm definitely really concerned as the revelation does reveal that the Evo Chamber and the Bane Nest are here, that the Evo Chamber is researching and that the lair isn't quite done. So Creator got a lot of information there, and this Ling Bane style can do really well against what we just saw, against those against that Adept style, because you know if the Adepts commit to a shade, then they just run into Banelings. You can clean them up so much easier, but against double Stargate,
Not a whole lot you can do. Once again, though, Dark is being very active on the map because he never had confirmation of the tech that Creator went for. And now that he sees the double Void Rays, I think he has been tipped off. He knows that he doesn't really have to worry about it. Adepts coming his way, so he is going to be moving on to the next phase of the game. Lair just about going to be finishing up. But he is also getting a macro hatch, so I have to wonder, is he still going to be going for Hydras here?
I mean, he can commit to an all-in. Like, with +1 finishing up, we got Lings going across the map. He can at least deny a 4th base if his opponent attempts to get one, or he can just Ling Bane Bust, because at the moment there isn't a lot of stack defense here at the 3rd, and he confirms that. Here we go.
He's going to try to get as much damage as he can. That Oracle nowhere near... nowhere near ready to throw down a Stasis Ward or anything like that. The Adept's trying to shade away to get a little something done. And just staring at these Banelings light. I glance over the production tab. We'll bring it up, but...
No!
These Banelings are going to get almost every single probe here in this mineral line. 16 of them, 18 of them. And that is already the initiative that he needs. Meanwhile, already starting his hive, he was getting the infestation pit immediately after his lair finished up.
Yeah.
He is going to be going to the late game as quickly as he really can. He's even getting pathogen glands light.
That he is. Feels bad, man. So Creator, the reason why there was no reaction whatsoever here at the 3rd base was because he was controlling his Void Rage, trying to snipe the base to the bottom right-hand corner. I believe he did recall in the end, and as a result, he just wasn't paying attention. He lost his entire mineral line, and now, as you were saying, Dark is miles ahead in terms of the economy, going straight into that late game tech, straight into the hive, and as you said, like, he can go into Hydras, he can have those infestors for the microbial shrouds. Even there's so much that Creator can do. Meanwhile, the Dark can do. Creator, meanwhile, is stuck at home.
Yeah, I do not favor his chances to see if he tries to out macro his opponent from here. Maybe if he gets a lot of side defense, he can try to turtle up and go into a Sky Toss composition that's very, very difficult for the Zerg player to defeat, but I don't know, we'll see. Usually when the Protoss player goes for that and the Zerg player confirms that that's how the Protoss player wants to go for, they will just be as greedy as they can, take every single base they can get.
Yeah, I was about to say that's Creator's plan right now. That should be his plan, to just turtle up, to throw down a bunch of shield batteries, throw down a bunch of cannons, and just turtle up and slowly get that Sky Toss on the way, because he's already working towards it. He has the Fleet Beacon, he's working on those carriers, and just try and defend and use that defender's advantage to hold against Dark once Dark maxes out, which will happen. Dark is at 94 workers. He has finished running up, he's got plenty of hatcheries, he's got plenty of macro hatcheries as well. Soon he's gonna max out on whatever army he wants, and then just push out across the map. The big question is, like, what composition is he really going for? He has a decent amount of queens, but disruptors are definitely what you want against like this big queen Roach Ravager push.
Yeah, it's what you want against a Queen Roach Ravager push, but is that what you want against the Ultras? Actually, now that I think about it, I think the only anti-air for Dark are Queens. He hasn't gone Hydras, he hasn't gone Mutas, he doesn't even have a Spire.
Yeah, the queens are what he's going to be relying on, and this is going to be really scary because there's going to be a bit of a dance. Like, the disruptors are key against this, and it's also why Dark, it's so important that he gathers energy with these Vipers. Vipers need to abduct the disruptors. They need to make sure the Purification Novas don't go off. Speaking of, maybe we got a bunch of Banelings here. Oh god.
Oh, the Purification Nova will land right in the middle of that.
Beautiful.
Centrifugal Hooks was still a ways off there for Dark, and Creator absolutely take advantage.
Aye. Fun fact,
that Baneling. Okay.
That's actually a good thing for Dark, because now since Baneling speed is done, so now it will actually have speed. Oh boy, and here we go, the main push is coming in. Oh!
Very good purification over here. Maybe this is why Creator has been getting so good in PvC.
I mean, Dark needs to calm down. Like, you can't posture like this without your Vipers. You need your Vipers to nullify the disruptors. Here we go, show us the abducts.
Yeah, Vipers are coming in. That's a pretty good parabomb. Those are some very nice parabombs. And a carrier, I mean, it's still holding on to that parabomb with every single, or almost every single Void Ray that in Creator's army. Dark has lost a lot of Lings and a lot of Banes, but those are very negligible units over here. Meanwhile, Creator, he's lost 10 probes.
Yeah, another Baneling run by. It looks like the side defense was even depowered. Nicely done. But we've been here before. This prompts Creator to push out across the map. Oh, but he's getting surrounded.
No buffer for his disruptors. He Hail Married his play there. And that was some decent purification Novas, but he lost every single disruptor that he had. He's got a very healthy Skytoss army over here, but look at all this Queenslight. And look at how much energy they've got.
Oh god, but he does lose one Viper. Another Viper almost goes down. Power Bomb on top of the Void Ray Zone. The Void Ray Zone splitting.
That they are not, but the Power Bomb does run out. There are no more Vipers left, and the carriers are absolutely mowing their way through those Queens. Meanwhile, a massive Ling run by coming on over here, but I feel like I got a favorite Creator right now.
Yeah, you have to. Creator, he kills all the anti-air. There are 10 Corruptors on the way, and a couple of more are out, so Dark, he's trying to bank up as much as he can. Meanwhile, this thing run by is going to be cleaned up. Like, with Overcharge, with Archons, Creator is perfectly fine at home. I don't know if I can say the same for Dark, and if things look dicey, we can always recall.
He absolutely can. I think right now he's trying to reinforce his main army to the best of his abilities, trying to take out this base, and then maybe we'll see the recall. But no, he's just bringing down all of his units. These Zealots are coming in, but unfortunately not bringing too much value. There was just enough Corruptors, it seemed, for Dark to start one-shotting the Skytoss units here of Creator. So he does make it out of there with his carriers at the very least. Most of his carriers, days. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Unfortunately, Creator was rallying across the map with his carriers, so 2 go down for free. And what's scary is that right now these lone carriers, these naked carriers, are so vulnerable to these Corruptors. You need Void Rays to help buffer. You need them to support those Stargate units. And what's interesting here is like, Dark still has a pretty massive lead. He's lucky that Creator had no idea about this left-hand base, so it's still mining pretty healthily, and Dark, he can max out again.
Yeah, we were in a scenario where, we favor Creator because we were assuming he was going to pull his recall, but he was way too late to pull that trigger. He lost every single one of his Void Rays and quite a number of his carriers over there. It takes a long time for him to remake those.
Yeah.
Well, Dark, he had that bank from earlier on. He remade whatever few drones he lost earlier. He was feeling more than comfortable to just remax and trade a little inefficiently until eventually Creator breaks.
Yeah, exactly. And Creator, we've been here before, we're here again. Creator has to defend as best he can and actually get up to 4 bases. He needs desperately that 4 base economy. And right now he's being pulled apart. The Archon goes down, and now the Lings slip into the main and the natural.
And this is starting to get pretty overwhelming. Like, Creator might eventually clear out these Lings, but how many probes is going to lose in the process? How many units, how many Corruptors is Stark going to make while this goes on? Even borrowing to make it even more annoying.
Thankfully, an Observer does come out in time, but at the same time, the Corruptors dive in. There's nothing to stop them from just one-shotting every single one of these carriers. They're all going to go down, and with this Dark, he should be able to tie up this series. He should be able to put a point on that board.
Yeah, it was looking very impressive Creator for a while, but a little bit of a delay in the recall and some really unfortunate rallies happened. And Dark, if you give him an inch, he will take the entire mile.
That he will. Right now, Creator's doing whatever he can, and he's just sending his Archons across the map. To be fair, like the Corruptors, they can't really do much against these Archons, but there are only 4 of them. Can he really end the game with this? Oh god, the Ultras are coming out, the Lings are coming out.
GG is called. Dark fights back. He'll be tying up the series sideways. 1-1.
GG, and I love it. We got a series. This isn't going to be one-sided either way. They are taking blows back and forth.
Indeed, they are. Looks to be a very close series that we've got over here. Meanwhile, I was just checking the in-game channel right now and checking the bracket. I think Yogur and
are they still going?
Yogur and Maxed are still going. Yeah,
they are. They actually are still going.
They're in game.
They are still in game. Yeah.
Or at least Yogur. Yeah, they are both in game.
Yeah, they are.
Hopefully that's game number 3, and they're not still in game number 2.
I imagine it's game number 3, and this is why I wanted to jump into the upper semis, like waiting for Yogur and Maxed. As we can see, it's likely that we're going to finish this best of 5 and just in time to jump into special versus the winner of Yogur versus Maxed.
Funny how that works out. Yeah, and that's us assuming that this best of 5 is going to the ace match.
Oh boy. So there's quite a ZvP happening there in the lower half of the brackets. just as intense, or I would hope it's just as intense as this one.
That we're gonna keep our fingers crossed for. As we continue this best of 5 semifinals on Lightshade LE, we're here in the top left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the top left-hand corner. The Blues player, he is going to be coming down from the land of South Korea. Going to be representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming, DPG. He is known as the last son of boxer. I was just reminded of that recently. I'm not sure how I'm gonna relate it to the segue here. He is Dark.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Lightshade LE, we have the South Korean Protoss player. He is red. He is representing Team NV. It is Creator.
I'm getting some very back and forth games going on so far in our best of 5 series. If this is a best of 3, we'd be in the ace match, but this is in fact a best of 5, so we are merely in the king match.
I think that's vocabulary that everyone uses.
I will make it vocabulary. I'm gonna infiltrate the dictionary company.
Oxford?
Yeah, I'm gonna infiltrate the HQ of Oxford.
God damn it, Yaku. But I'm really curious to see what the vetoes were like in this series. I think to me that's one of the most important things, because there are maps that are Protoss favored, like Romanticide or like Death Aura as well, where it's a little more easier to establish your 4 bases. As we saw in Jagannatha, Creator, he was really struggling to hold on to that top left-hand base. It isn't really set up in such a way where you can efficiently wall off, Zest style and kind of set it and forget it and just focus on one choke point.
Yeah, I mean, it was damned if he did, whether he got that top left-hand base, or damned if he got the other more forward base, because that's still a lot of distance you have to cover.
Yeah, and it's a lot more open as well. Like, there's a lot more avenues of attack, essentially almost 360s. So, it was a really rough decision there by Creator. And to be fair, he was almost able to win regardless. Just those Ling Bane run-bys were so brutal.
I think that really is what... It's one of the strengths of Dark. I don't think it's really what you normally think of when you think of how Dark plays, but it seems to be a bit of a weakness of Creator here. Kind of unable to split his attention and split his forces to deal with the multi-pronged harass that Dark has thrown his way.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see.
Even in game number 1.
Yeah, exactly. Game number 1 was the exact same thing. Dark was dealing all this damage, but in game number 1, we saw that Creator had enough to go across the map and end the game. He tried to do the same in game number 2, but this time he just didn't quite have enough. As it looks like someone. No, pig!
Oh no! That's oh dear. That's unfortunate. That is very unfortunate. He's been having I know he's been having a couple of issues lately, and I think they were actually unable to figure out what it was. But yeah, that's unfortunate to say the least.
Pig, please rip Aussie internet, the Australian Emil, if you will. Aye.
Oh, you know what they say about Australian internet? Drops like drop bears.
Oh god. See, what you need is a Singaporean in the core to balance it out. Like that's exactly what I do.
Exactly. That's my real value. That's why I won't be fired until we can schedule something that varies.
This is true. I'm glad you know. I'm glad you figured it out. Oh god. I mean, hopefully Pig can sort out his internet in time to jump into game number 4 after this, and then hopefully he isn't out of the entire event. There's still plenty more matches to go. We're only in the semifinals here. We've got the finals after this. Not even. We have got the lower semis after this, potentially the lower quarterfinals, depending on how long they take. So still plenty of StarCraft to come.
There is.
Oh boy.
So yeah, fingers crossed. Cross their Ethernet cables crossed rather. You know, maybe give a bit of an offering to who is the Lord of Internet down in Australia.
The Lord of Internet?
Yeah, who is the Lord of Internet?
Telstra.
Telstra. Oh.
Oh
I
boy.
imagine he does wear one of those boonie hats.
Sure, why not? Why not? So hopefully Pig is okay as we get into this game. Once again, just like game number 2, Creator is going for that double Stargate.
Yeah, a lot more standard coming out from him. So we should be seeing a gateway switch. I know that's how Creator does like to play. Is fond of his forge units. However, we'll see what he goes for in the opening here. Is it going to be more double void ray production coming out from him? Is he just going to continue to try to go into carriers? I mean, I've seen him do it a couple of times in his games against CRG, so we'll see.
Yeah, you could definitely argue that a map like Lightshade, it is a little bit easier to defend on your 4 bases. At the same time, though, the rush distance is that little bit shorter, so a big Queen March could hit a lot harder here on this map. We do see 8 roaches on the way, and the Queens are continuing their march across the map.
Dark has completely cut his drones. He is content to just have that mineral mining in that 3rd base.
Oh god.
And now he's sending every single one of his forces across the map, almost at 1.5 times the army of Creator.
Yeah, like a Creator, he's aware that this army is pushing out. He does throw down 1 shield battery, this 2nd shield battery. Oh my god, it's so late. Does he really have enough to defend? The Oracle gets sniped.
Yeah, able to throw down a reveal at the end there, but is that really going to be what you want against the Queens here?
Oh god, not
I feel
at
like
all.
I feel like as long as Creator is able to deal with those Queens, he should be fine in the defense, but that's a massive if. These Queens have a lot of energy on them. They are fighting in open range here. Forced to pop a battery overcharged, but that shield battery is immediately targeted down, and so is the other one. I say so is the other one. There we go.
Yeah, unfortunately, Creator, he saw that this was coming far too late. He only had 1 shield battery prepared. Normally, you need like 4 shield batteries. You need a bunch of cannons. You need just as many units as you can muster. And as we can see, he just doesn't have enough to contend with all these Queens with these transfuses as the 3rd does go down.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing about prioritizing a Stargate production earlier on. I mean, it would have worked out really well if this was a standard game. But this is not a standard game whatsoever. He needed gateways to deal with them Queens. And he does not have them, unfortunately, because of the opening he went for.
Yeah, gateways or, again, just shield batteries. I know StarCraft has practiced this quite a bit, and as we can see, the Queens are just too much right now. The Voiders, they're doing their best, and like he is pushing the army back a little bit. The problem is that Creator, he's stuck on 2 bases.
He really, really is. Meanwhile, Dark, he's redroned. He's getting his lair tech up and running.
Oh boy, starting to work on his upgrades as well, and again, I do love that Dark, he isn't committing to this. He's like, okay, I killed the 3rd, and now I can just back off from here. Like, I'm ahead, I'm gonna retain my lead, I don't have to overcommit into a brick wall at this natural with 3 shield batteries set up.
He has the control. He has absolute control in this game, and it's gonna take a lot for Creator to be able to retake that.
That it will. As Creator, he's trying to do whatever he can. He does push the army back. He does snipe off an Overlord here and there, which is great and all. He does go in for a scout, but again, oh god, a Spire is on the way, and it will get scouted? Question mark? Oh.
Just barely in the range, I think.
Unfortunately, it was not scouted, so Creator, he is a little bit in the dark. Again, like all his hopes and dreams are in these Void Rays right now.
Yeah, he needs to make something huge happen from him. He is delaying some 4th bases coming up here, which is definitely something. Might see him try once again to take out another base. So many Queens though. And once again, just hiding that Spire coming out. Creator is not committed to the Stargate, at least not as hard as he was in game number 2. So he is working on the transition to gateways, you know, as a way to just get him to his late game. a little better. I highly doubt that Creator is going to stick to this.
What I imagine is if Creator is somehow able to, oh god, he has to be careful not to overcommit here, but if he's somehow able to keep Dark on 3 bases, keep denying the 4th, then he can slowly get back into this. You know, right now he's doing a decent job. All the queens were distracted, forces these Ravagers to try and deal with the Void Ray, but in the end, the Void Ray does get pushed away.
But at the very least, Creator is aware of that base. I suppose this is one of the big disadvantages, right, of delaying the Spire for that long. You just don't have a lot of anti-air available to you. Finally, Dark is getting a whole lot of Corruptors. That's very, very scary, but it is only Corruptors, and it is only Void Rays that are in the sky. Once they... Actually, I'm not so sure if this is enough to take out the Void Rays. Creator.
It may be, especially with the control of Dark, as he will be able to dance between those Void Rays, and then once they all go down, then the ground army can start to move across the map. I say that, again, there isn't that much on the ground, as you were pointing out. Sure, the Void Rays could go down, but he needs more to go across the map. Oh.
He definitely does. He's trying to target down that hatchery, but it will not happen. Queen's in position to transfuse it. A good chunk of these Void Rays will be taken out, though. Unfortunately, one of them will miss a recall.
That it will.
Going into Phoenixes? I guess he's anticipating. I guess he's anticipating Mutas to come his way.
He canceled the Phoenix. It's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, he is focusing on the ground army. He is aware that he has lost control of the skies. And thankfully, Dark may be overcommitted to the Corruptors, but we see like there's more uses for them, not just focusing down the air units.
Yeah. Oh, unfortunate timing on that battery overcharge. Wanted to use it to help out his Nexus, but the Nexus will fall just before it really pops off. Whereas here, trying to do whatever they can, and it's so important for Creator to keep this base alive. He just lost his 3rd. Files do land on a lot of Gamma units.
Yeah, and he's gonna lose a lot more than his 3rd as the war. Oh no, the warp prism goes down. It denies the warp, and GG gets called.
Dark can be taking game number 3 very decisively there. I would say a lot more decisive than the previous 2 games for Dark.
Yeah, exactly. Again, Creator, he was just trying to get into a relatively normal game, but like he neglected his scouting. He didn't realize what was coming his way until it was already at his doorstep, essentially. And even when he saw that the queens were outside the base, it felt like he underreacted. Again, there were only 2 shield batteries at the 3rd. Like, what did he really expect to hold there? Like, oh god.
I think he did. I think he was trying to channel his inner parting there.
Mm-hmm.
Although without Blink, he was trying to channel parting, but with Void Rays. Blink Void Rays. That would be a funny sight to behold. Not sure how, effective they'd actually be, but it'd be funny.
Oh boy.
As they'd be useful for like scenarios where you want to avoid Corruptors or something along those lines, so that's why you'll never get Blink on Void Rays.
As we are looking to get into game number 4, it does look like Pig has returned. It sounds like he's not too confident in the stability of his internet, unfortunately. I hope everything's okay. Again, like, unstable internet sounds like the worst thing, especially if you're a full-time streamer. Like, that's devastating.
That's, yeah. Can't imagine that. As a, how devastating that would be. Or that actually is. Yeah, it is very devastating.
Yeah, it's essentially your income right there. Like, yeah, his job is to be a streamer, and if something's up with his internet company, oh boy, it's rough. But hopefully he's able to maintain his stability here, and he can stick with us as he is joining our lobby. We are looking to get into the next game as soon as the players are ready.
Everybody cross your Ethernet cords. As you load in.
Yeah, as we load into the next game, a couple of people, yes, even if the overcharge was used, that many Corruptors with caustic spray, they don't even care about your overcharge.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much DPS there.
Yeah. Just goes to show you, Corruptors more than Void Rays. Well, it's either that or Transfuse more than Battery Overcharge.
There you go.
There we go.
As long as you have Mass Queen.
Yeah, exactly. As long as you have Mass Queen and Mass Corruptus. As we spawn into Pillars of Gold LE for what could potentially be our final game of this best of 5 semifinales. Here in the top right-hand corner map, spawning all the way to the top right-hand corner. He looked pretty shaky at the start of the series, but now he's overcome whatever was unnerving him earlier on. He is looking so, not necessarily confident, but he's definitely looking a lot better now than he was at the start of this, in what is arguably his worst matchup at the moment. Representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming DPG, he is Dark.
Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Pillars of Gold LE, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing Team NV, currently down 0-1-2 in this best of 5 semifinals. It is Creator.
And I feel like as the series went on, Dark has been able to adapt a lot better. And Creator, he was doing something different each game, but not different enough, I feel.
Yeah, I was about to say that I don't know if it's Dark adapting, it's just Dark with like the wide array of different builds and styles that he has at his disposal, and he can just kind of switch in between them. And it's on Creator to be able to respect that. Like, he can't play the same every single game, right? We saw some variety, right? It was really cool what he did in game 1 with the Adepts, and it was understandable that he switched things up afterwards, right? It's something that you throw in there once in a series. But again, like, he needs to be on point with his scouting. He needs to know what his opponent's doing, because like there are so many different timings, right? It doesn't have to be a Queen push. It could be a Hydra timing, could be a Hydra Lurker timing that Raynor popularized, that IEM Katowice as well. Like, there's so much that Zerg can do to try and end the game early, and Creator has to be aware of that.
Or he could believe.
In what? In who?
Waifus. Oh wait, but they changed the decals.
They changed, mate. They're gone,
damn
mate.
it, Team NV. Worst mistake they ever made.
It feels bad, man. Feels bad. Oh boy. But we'll see what Creator has in store for us. We'll see if he goes for a Stargate opening. We'll see if he decides to switch things up, and he does with the Twilight Council.
There we go. Not even getting a Stargate this time. He's just going straight for it. But what does he get from here, though? Is he gonna go Glaives again? Is it gonna be an earlier charge? Potentially Blink?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, most likely it will either be Glaives, or he could be cheeky and go straight into DTs. Okay.
A very real possibility. I'm liking it quite a lot. Dark is, or has been, shall we say, delaying the lair for a little while so far in the series.
That he has, especially in the last game, right? He delayed it for so long to go for his attack. Meanwhile, we do have the robotics facility on the way. There is a Stalker here at the National to make sure that the Overlord doesn't get a scout off. At the same time, though, yeah, there's no other Overlord in position, and oh no, Glaives does start up.
Huh. Alright then. Well, he is going for a robo facility, so this time I imagine he is going to go in with his Warp Prism as well, try to warp in as many waves as he can, maybe even go for a bit of a multi-prong. It is, at the moment anyway, going to be that 4-gate, maybe that 4-gate variant, so not too committed he is. We'll see though.
Yeah, we'll see if he decides to throw down additional gateways and goes for, as you were saying, a lot more of a committed attack, or just sticks with these 4 just to see what he can get done and transition from there. It is, of course, the safer way to play, and you know, potentially can deal a lot of damage, keep your opponent busy at home while you work on your robo units, whether it's Immortals or Disruptors, your tech of choice.
And Dark has definitely seen, not necessarily Glaze, but he saw the Adept, so he has an inkling of what's coming his way, focusing on getting those roaches, and I'm getting a little more worried for Creator.
Yeah, like, this is something that was really popular at the start of 2020, and it's kind of been figured out. Like, I imagine Dark has had so much practice against this. I imagine he's pretty comfortable against it. We'll see if Creator can make some magic happen.
Yeah, I mean, best case scenario, right? Dark is not used to playing against a bit of an outdated style here, so Creator's just gonna be able to make something happen, but Yeah, he knows that Dark is already pretty well defended, so he doesn't want to really tangle with the Roach Ravager and the Lings he's got right now. Trying to go for a bit of a multi-prong here.
Yeah, the problem is that the queens are in the main base, so they are ready and waiting to focus down that War Prism. Meanwhile, there are also Lings to help support them as they do dive in, and Creator has to be so careful with the War Prism.
That he does. Down into yellow already. A bit of a missed timing, unfortunately, if he wanted to go in at both angles.
Yeah,
so now
and
he just backs away with the rest of those Adepts and is going to try to defend the counter harass.
yeah, I was about to say, enough time has passed where Dark, he's perfectly fine at home with queens and roaches. Now the Lings can go for the counterattack to try and deny the third base. Ooh, but the Adepts of Creator get home just in time. There's enough of them with good enough SimCity to make sure the Lings don't get any damage done.
So Dark is going to back away, regroup, wait for the lair to finish up, I imagine. I'm going to get ready for round 2 here. Well, not the lair, more likely waiting for the Baneless to finish.
I was about to say, really interesting that once again we do have +1 melee on the way alongside that Bailey Nest, so he is favoring that Ling Bane Ravager style that we saw him whip out in game number 1. And 2.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. It's definitely going to be on Creator here to realize what's coming his way. He has not really gotten any tech aside from that Twilight Council yet. No Robo Bays have been made. I feel like he is anticipating roaches coming out from Dark this time.
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned because again, like going into Blink Stalkers with +1 from here, it does well against more Roach Ravager heavy compositions. But because Dark is committing to Ling Bane, like that fares a lot better against Immortals and Stalkers. So yeah, Creator, hopefully he's able to take note of this and adapt accordingly.
Yeah, hasn't gone into that main base just yet. Got a little hot pickup coming down over here. What we can really do here to make sure that Dark doesn't have as much map control as he'd like. Clearing creep here and there.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to go for some multi-prong. We do have the War Prism trying to sneak in across the map. At the same time, we have a couple of Adepts in the third base, and there's nothing here.
Beautiful multi-prong that Creator is trying to do right now. Showing that Dark is the only one who's able to do that in this matchup.
Yeah, exactly. As 7 drones go down, no mining whatsoever here at the third base. At the same time, we have that Immortal with the War Prism, but unfortunately, Dark did leave units here, so he does defend.
Yeah, he kept just enough units on in position to prevent that Immortal from doing any sort of damage, really. Now Creator's starting to move across with the rest of his army, pulls back?
Yeah, I was gonna say he may be looking to try and hit a timing. Like, Blink is almost done. +1 still has a ways to go. On top of that, the army was spotted by a Ling, so Dark was ready and well prepared here at the base.
Yeah, that's probably what it was. I want to go for that timing, but realize that +1 was still a little bit of a ways off. Blink not quite done yet. But unfortunately, the window he's just narrowly missed that window, so he is playing this out a lot more cautiously, just trying to scout Dark as best he can.
And I like this. This is very akin to game number 1, where, okay, he takes note, all right, this mass Ling Bane, so I'm going to go into Colossus, and that'll help so much more against the majority Ling Bane army. On top of that, we're going to need plenty of sentries as well for those force fields, and Creator, like, he was able to use this composition to great effect in game number 1. He's going to try and do so again in game number 4.
Here's hoping at the very least. He is going for double robo production, so 2 Colossus being made at a time, and Thermal Lance is on its way. Dark this time, however, is going a lot quicker into that infestation pit. Should be seeing a hive pop out. And once this Hydra Den finishes up, I imagine a Lurker Den, just as a way to deal with charges and what have you.
Yeah, Dark hasn't been able to go into the main base, but he is responding correctly. Like, he's not stuck on Ravager Ling Bane. He is taking up, unlike game number 1. And with this, Lurkers and Vipers are going to be key in defending and going toe-to-toe against these Colossus.
It really will. You don't want to be a Colossus that's joined right in the middle of 4 Lurkers.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they're like such a big target, you know, they have such massive hitboxes, it's so easy to abduct them. So, oh boy, Creator has to be so careful, and eventually he's going to need High Templar once those Vipers come out.
Yeah, hasn't noticed it yet, though. I believe he got the Templar Archives a while ago. No, I'm thinking of a different game.
Oh boy, and there we go. The Lurker Den is on the way. Hive as well, so Dark is nicely transitioning into that higher tier army. Meanwhile, Creator is still a little bit behind, kind of posturing around, trying to defend all his bases. Ooh, does intercept the Baneling run by.
Yeah, prevents any damage being done in that rightmost base.
Oh god. Hey.
I will say, well, Creator's not ahead, and he's actually very far behind in the economy now that he loses that base, but he is going to be ahead in upgrades for quite some time. I mean, his +2 is going to be finishing up as Dark just finishes his 1-1.
Man, what's important right now is that the Banelings were just morphed in as soon as Dark saw the army, so now is an opportunity for Creator to once again just try and end the game despite having a worse economy. Oh,
he's got available to him, but they do connect. Thankfully, they don't connect at anything too squishy over here. It was just the Colossus. In fact, all three of them do survive. One of them is so far down the red zone, and there's no Warp Prism in position to micro it right now.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's missing right now. The Warp Prism, it's kind of in the back, being used to reinforce, not here to micro, not here to help keep those Colossus alive.
And it's even more important because these Stalkers, they're a bit of a double-edged sword here, Light. Sure, they can blink away from the Banelings, but every time they do, they just leave the Colossus that much more exposed.
Mate, that's why you just wait forward.
What you want to happen when you have a buffer, yeah, exactly.
Oh boy, as the Banelings are going down again, only a couple of them are ready. Meanwhile, we have Lurkers being morphed into the natural.
Now there is an Observer around, and it is going to be a while before Dark finished up those Lurker upgrades. Creator is being very cautious here, arguably overly cautious.
Yeah, exactly. He gave Dark enough time for the Lurkers to finish, and even though he does have an Observer, it's not here with the army. There's no detection, and the Lurkers are just getting free shots.
Oh no, they do take out one of the Colossi. Where's that Observer?
It's not here, mate. There's no detection whatsoever, and with these Lurkers, I think Dark is okay. Like, he can't die.
That he cannot. Again, where was that detection, man? Fair enough, building two at a time, but even still, it's going to be a long while before they get across the map without the upgrades.
Exactly.
And now Dark, he's finishing up his upgrades. Seismic Spines, the more important one, has finished up here because what that means is that these Lurkers can now outrange the Colossus.
Exactly, and the problem,
I think they matched the range. My mistake.
And the problem is that, like, again, Creator was kind of pseudo all in. He had to end the game. He dealt some nice damage, you know, he killed a hatchery, which is great, but he had to do more. And as you were saying, he was kind of taking his time a little bit. He was, like, being maybe overly cautious, and because of that, he did allow those Lurkers to finish up. Potentially in another world, he could have denied that from happening. Meanwhile, we have a massive Ling run by at the third.
And it should be able to take out so much. There is side defense here, but what is that really going to do? Thankfully, a couple of Colossus to prevent the Lings from getting too much economic damage. Now cannons do go down, which is less than ideal, but it's better than losing your base or your workers.
Yeah, the problem is that if another run by comes, there are no more cannons left. So then that is when the workers will start to go down. So Creator has to be careful. He has to replenish those cannons. Meanwhile, we do see he's trying to do what he can to keep the army busy at home. Dark, so relentless with these Ling counterattacks, but Creator this time, he split up his army pretty nicely. He's able to defend.
Yeah, too relentless this time.
Yeah, you don't want to be throwing too much away, right? At a certain point, then you just start bleeding out at that point. But meanwhile, Dark, he has been focusing on his main army, and there are so many Lurkers now.
And they have both upgrades available. They can burrow right on down and just shell away at something that good range away from them.
That they can. Meanwhile, we do finally have High Templar on the way for Creator. He finally did throw down his Templar archives. He has Storm on the way, which is great. Not just Storm, but also those feedbacks if Vipers come into play. That's probably the biggest thing that Dark is missing here to really round out his army.
Yeah, the Lurkers are very good defensively, but on the offense, he needs to take... Without Vipers, he needs to be very risky when he goes on the offense with those. Ideally, he'd be able to maintain that defensive position and use the Vipers to yoink key units into them.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just... Okay. So we do have 2 Vipers out so far. They do have maxed out energy. I don't know if 2 Vipers is going to be enough, though. We'll see. Dark is getting close to maxing out. He can't make any more.
Yeah.
Okay. But he's...
The thing is... Yeah. I was gonna say that with how feedback works, then those Vipers being in full health might be what Dark is looking for.
Yeah, oh boy. As we do have the main army outside the fourth of Creator, he is well aware of it. He's actually trying to circle around with his Stalkers to try and snipe those Vipers.
And he bruises them a little. He gets some damage on a couple of them, but none of them actually going down. And the main army is still around to provide some backup here for Dark. Creator trying to see if he can get anything done with Storms. You know, he blinks across the map there. It takes out a couple of banelings, it seems, but apart from that, not too much.
This is really unfortunate for Creator. Creator decides to counterattack, and at both the third and the fourth, there are defensive lurkers, so he just can't do anything with his Stalkers, and as a result, he loses his fourth. Like, the main army, he made the decision to go across the map, and oh my god, the High Templar! No, they're so exposed!
They are uber vulnerable right now, and they immediately turn it down just like so. Unable to use their energy. They were waiting for so long, like, to have energy to do something, anything. Not to be the case. This is a very good position though for Creator to exploit.
Yeah, exactly. Finally, he finds some damage with his Stalkers. He just goes straight into the natural, straight into the main base. He was able to snipe a hatchery, but not much else. He'll be able to try and blink away, but he runs into these lurkers and loses so many Stalkers. But he's replacing them with Immortals and Archons.
Definitely a much better unit to deal with these roaches, especially when they go into their burrow. But again, it does take a while for them to get out. Oh
boy, that's a lot of Immortals.
That is a lot of mortals. That's the amount of mortals when somebody realizes their opponent is going for pure roach lurkers, which Dark is not. At least not at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, the Immortals, they do well against lurkers. Like, they can tank a lot and they can move on forward. But again, not so much against Lings. And this is a little bit dangerous. The Lings are looking to go for a bit of a run by. Ooh, but there are Archons here outside the natural.
Yeah, they shouldn't be getting too much dead over here. There we go, chased away.
That they are. Meanwhile, Creator, he's trying to get a fourth up and running, finally establishing the one on the bottom right-hand side of the map. And, not going quite into Skytoss, but he is getting a mothership.
Might as well, I suppose. Instead of cloak these units. Make it that much harder for the Vipers to yoink the Colossus, although they can yoink the mothership.
Yeah, this is a really interesting decision here by Creator, because I do feel like eventually he should be switching into Skytoss, whether it's Carriers or Tempests, because that does so well, especially because Dark, his anti-air is very lacking. He's turning almost every single one of his Hydras into Lurkers, and as a result, he's getting close to maxed out with very limited anti-air, and he doesn't really have a Spire either, so Creator could like take advantage of that situation if he did switch in to Skytoss, and that's what he's doing. 2 more Stargates are on the way.
Nicely done. Creator is already maxed out, so we will have to throw away a couple of these gateway units. We'll see. That Dark get another lurker.
He did get another lurker then, as I think maybe it was sniped earlier, but ooh, the Yoinks do get a couple of Immortals.
Yeah, not quite the Colossus here, but still a nice little pick off coming down here for Dark. He's trying to go for the probes, but it won't connect with most of them. Only 8 probes do go down, and Creator, honestly, he doesn't have much of a bank, but he does still need that supply.
He needs the supply. He needs the bases. Like, if you recall, Creator, he just keeps losing the bases over to the left-hand side. He needs to finally get some Nexuses up and running. He just can't find one to really hold on to. And interesting, he's not going for the carriers. He is going for those Tempests, 3 at a time.
Well, I suppose you want something that can outrange the not the Viper, sorry.
Everything.
Well, they do outrange the Viper yoinks, but yeah. It's time to outrange the Lurkers specifically, but they do outrange basically everything in the game.
Oh boy. So pretty interesting decision here, and now it's on Dark to figure out what's going on, because these Tempests, like, he desperately needs to switch into Spire Tech. He needs those Corruptors to deal with them.
But it is not on the way, not just yet though.
Yeah, exactly.
Good feedbacks on a couple of these Vipers. Oh, and actually both of the high energy Vipers. No way for Dark to yoink this over, but he does have an Overseer slowly moving in position. It's still going to be difficult for Creator to move in.
That it is, and I'm just, as time goes on, the worse and worse it is for Dark. Like, again, he has no idea what Creator is switching into. So far, he just sees what he's always seen, you know, a commitment to a ground army, when slowly but surely we do have that switch into Skytoss. He needs to prepare himself for that, and especially since Dark is the one with the bank, he can afford to throw down a couple of Spires.
Absolutely can. Has a gas for it. It's a lot going for him. He is making a lot of static defense here, which is triggering some of my PTSDs, but...
Oh, show me the yoinks.
I'm not entirely convinced it's going to be enough. That was a money yoink! Unfortunately, not quite enough anti-air. Actually took 2 yoinks to take out the mothership over there. It did go down in the end, which I guess is the important thing, but... I don't know, like, there's still plenty of Tempest over here. They're taking out quite a number of these Overseers. Creator now trying to switch into a Dark Shrine, which I don't mind.
Yeah, and interesting decision here by Dark. He is actually going into Infestors. He did finish Neural Parasite, so he can Neural the Tempest if he gets close enough. He can also Microbial Shroud to help support his Hydras, which is his unit, his anti-air of choice. So interesting decisions here. Still avoiding that Spire.
I feel like he's doing everything he can to avoid that Spire. Yeah, it's an agreement somewhere, a wager, if you will.
The problem is that Spire has multiple purposes because it's Colossus as well, right? Like, like Corruptors wouldn't just kill the Tempest; they'd also kill the Colossus and the Mothership. Like, there's a lot of value to be had.
Aha! But what are Corruptors gonna do from there? Am I right? Question mark.
Turn into Broodlords, mate.
Yeah, definitely a little odd how Dark is playing this out.
I mean, it still works.
Tunnel vision going on here, but yeah, as you say, it is still working very well in his favor.
Exactly. Just hopefully he's not a little bit too stubborn. That's one of the advantages of Zerg. Zerg army compositions can be so fluid. Like, all you need is Larva and you can just switch into whatever you want. And I feel like that's what we see here because Dark, he just sends a majority of his Lurkers across the map to counterattack and he kills the Nexus.
Very good pickoff here. Creator still trying to get that his bases towards the left. Now he has expanded more towards the right, so it's not as devastating as it was a while ago in this game.
Well, exactly. And meanwhile, we do have the Lurkers coming back to defend against these Immortals again. The Creator, he just wants to free up some supply. He kind of wasted a lot of it in those Immortals, so thankfully he is dealing some damage with them before they go down. Meanwhile, the main armies are clashing.
And that was a pretty good neural. I'm not sure if I call it the money neural necessarily. Not entirely sure what was brainwashed there, but it seemed to be a bunch of Corruptors. Or Tempest, sorry, yeah.
Yeah. Almost all the Tempest. Almost all the Tempest.
We're talking about Spire so much, it's in my brain.
Almost all the Tempests were neuraled. And it was really cool because he actually brought them closer to the Spores, and the Spores were what were able to take them all down. And again, I don't know how I feel about Creator avoiding carriers here. I don't know.
Listen, if it didn't work in one game, it's not gonna work in any game.
Like, Tempests are good and all, but they're also slow. Like, their fire rate is quite low as well.
Well, I still kind of do like the Tempest in this scenario where Dark is still committed to more of a Hydra Lurker style, but I'm gonna have to agree with you there. When the tech switches up, then I feel like carriers are a lot more versatile.
Yeah, they can be. Thankfully, it does look like Creator finds a weakness here. There are barely any spores, so he's going to be able to take all of this out. Meanwhile, at the same time, Dark takes advantage of the fact that the army is out of position and also goes for the counterattack and could take 2 bases.
He's going to be content with 1 at the moment, just trying to evaluate whether or not he needs to turn back. Neither player really turning back. We're getting into a very awkward pseudo-base trade.
Yeah, that we are, as 2 hatcheries will be going down at the cost of 2 Nexuses. The problem is that these 2 Nexuses were so much more valuable for Creator. Meanwhile, this one here, there was no mining whatsoever. Ooh, the Vipers do come in.
And the Parrot Bombs are looking very, very deadly over here.
Oh, God.
No splits happening right now. And the Parrot Bomb is on basically every unit. Even the Colossus suffered a little.
Oh, that it did. Meanwhile, the main army of Dark did come all the way home. Recall is used. It looks like it was used just in time. Nothing extra went down.
But unfortunately, it's still, what, 2 fresh bases taken out for Creator. Good snipe there on the Warp Prism.
Yeah, and what's really interesting is that Dark barely has any drones left. These two bases remaining of Dark have been mining for quite some time, and they're they're getting close to being mined out. So Dark, he does desperately need to expand over to the left hand side, and Creator, because of that recall, he kept the majority of his army alive.
Yeah, it's one of those awkward scenarios where you think, okay, if I have less workers, I'll have more army. Except he's also forgetting that his bases are going to be mined out pretty soon. He doesn't have much of a bank. Very good pickoffs here. Uber important for Dark to have gone for those overseers to be in the position that they were. And now it's Yoik Centralite. Almost all of the Skytoss army that was in the north gets taken out.
Yeah, there just weren't enough High Templar to stop the Vipers from abducting whatever they wanted. The High Templar, they come in here now, but they're exposed. They throw down a couple of storms, but they barely do anything. And now the Mass Hydra is just going to clean up. Like, this army is not built to deal with Mass Hydra. You need those storms, you need charge slots, you need AoE, and the Creator just doesn't have it.
He really does not. He's going for his last hurrah over here. On paper, the supplies are close-ish, but yeah, Dark with just a much better army.
Even takes over those Void Rays, does turn on the main Protoss army. Another 2 Nexuses go down to the Lurkers. Creator, he's trying to do what he can, but oh god, at this stage, like he actually has 0 mining. He actually has 0 income.
Absolute 0. And I thought that was the reason why we avoided Yogurt versus Maxed, but Dark and Creator, they're showing us what we're missing.
Yeah,
what we missed.
That they are. Oh god, the probes!
Yeah, that's a bit of an awkward rally, to say the least.
Feels bad, man. The main army gets neuraled, the GG gets called.
Dark gonna be taking that series 3-1 after a somewhat doubtful start. Well played.
GG, well played. Dark does advance on to the grand finals over Creator, and we will see what the hell has been going on in the lower half of the bracket.